Again, Big U, his son Baby Huey, or Big Huey, right? He was assassinated last night on Halloween out there in LA.
The city of Los Angeles was left trembling in disbelief when news broke that Big U's son, Jabari Henley, known to many as Baby Wee, had been brutally gunned down on Halloween night. What was supposed to be a night of candy and costumes instantly turned into chaos and heartbreak. But what happened after the shooting? That's when things spiraled out of control. Nipsey's crew didn't waste a second. They started mocking Big U's loss online, sparking a digital war that lit the entire city on fire. Halloween in South Central was supposed to be peaceful. Kids running around in costumes, neighbors passing out candy, music bumping from every block, but instead, the night turned into something out of a nightmare. Gunshots shattered the celebration, and within minutes, the word spread across Crenshaw, Watts, and Compton. Jabari was gone, and this wasn't just another street headline, it was a direct hit to one of the most respected figures in LA's hip-hop history. The tragedy sent ripples through every corner of the culture. From rappers who grew up under Big U's wing to those who had fallen out with him over the years, everyone had something to say. Old beefs suddenly resurfaced, and the streets started whispering that this might not have been random at all. People began connecting dots, digging up old tensions, and calling out names. The whole situation started to feel like a storm that had been building since 2019, and now it had finally exploded. But what truly shocked everyone wasn't just the shooting, it was the heartless reactions that followed. Instead of condolences, social media became a battlefield. People who once smiled in Big U's face started reposting subliminal messages, laughing emojis, and cold-hearted memes. It was brutal. The disrespect ran deep, and fans couldn't believe how fast the internet turned into a war zone. It wasn't about street codes anymore. It was about humiliation, attention, and going viral at someone's lowest moment. At exactly 11:11 p.m. on Halloween night, October 31st, 2025, the peace in South Los Angeles shattered with the sound of gunfire. LAPD officers from the 77th Street Division rushed toward the corner of South Figueroa and West 69th Street after reports of multiple shots fired.
I want to talk about, Big U. His son was assassinated last night out there in LA. Absolutely nasty work, man. Again, Big U, his son Baby Huey, or Big Huey, right? He was assassinated last night on Halloween out there in LA.
And what they found there would soon dominate headlines across the nation. This wasn't just another night in South Central. This was a moment that froze the entire city in shock. If you know the Vermont Slauson section of South LA, then you already know how tense it can get out there. The blocks stay hot, the looks stay mean, and every corner got history tied to it. That area's been active for decades with energy that never cools down. And right in the middle of it all sat this little smoke shop, Fig and 69 Smoke Spot. It looked like any regular local business, tucked between a liquor store and an old body shop. But it was sitting deep in Rollins 60 Crip territory, a zone where every wrong move could mean danger. Now, word on the street says the shop itself wasn't tied to any gang. It just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But that didn't stop the streets from talking. Witnesses describe what went down like something out of an action movie. Except this wasn't Hollywood. This was real life. A couple of customers were just leaving the store, and a food truck vendor nearby was serving late-night tacos when it all unfolded. They told police they saw a dark-colored sedan, maybe a Toyota Camry or Honda Accord, slowly roll up to the curb. The tension in the air was thick. Standing nearby was Jabari Baby Wee Henley, tall and built solid at 6'1", around 210 pounds, calm but alert as he stepped toward the car. Witnesses say Jabari leaned down, talking through the passenger side window, and for a few seconds everything looked normal, like he was just having a quick conversation. But then, it all went bad, fast. Within seconds, the calm shattered. Muffled voices turned into chaos, and then, pop! P-O-P! P-O-P! The sound of gunfire echoed down the block, and people scattered in every direction. The way it all went down made one thing crystal clear. This wasn't some random robbery gone wrong. The whole hit was clean, fast, and cold, like it had been planned to the second. Before anyone could even register what was happening, the block exploded with that bone-chilling pop, 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 the kind of sound that makes everybody drop flat and pray the next bullet doesn't got their name on it. According to investigators, what unfolded that night was nothing short of an execution-style ambush.
I mean, it is what it is as far as this is how the streets go, but Baby Huey, I ain't gonna hold you. Solid dude. Like, as young as he was, if you actually met him, he actually seemed way older. Kel was solid, like straight, solid dude. Now some of y'all be, well, he was in the street. He didn't operate like that. He wasn't operating out here like no goofy. Let me just flat out put that out there.
They later confirmed the shooters fired at least 7 rounds, possibly more, from what's believed to be a semi-automatic handgun. Shell casings recovered from the scene pointed toward either a 9mm or a .40 caliber. Both weapons favored in the streets for their precision and quick fire. The shooter wasn't shooting wild. They knew exactly what they were doing. When the smoke cleared, Jabari Baby Wee Henley had taken multiple hits. 2 straight to the torso, 1 tearing into his upper chest, another striking his stomach, plus bullets in his left arm and thigh. Witnesses said he collapsed near the entrance of the smoke shop, clutching his side as the dark sedan sped off northbound on Figueroa, before making a sharp right on 68th Street and vanishing into the darkness like a ghost. Sirens filled the night almost instantly. LAFD Station 46 arrived within minutes. 11:14 p.m., lights flashing, medics jumping out with gear in hand. But sometimes, no matter how fast they come, time just runs out. Paramedics found Jabari barely breathing, that painful gasp known as agonal breathing, the body's last fight to hold on. Blood covered the sidewalk. The scene was heartbreaking. They immediately went to work. CPR, chest compressions, IV lines, adrenaline injections, everything. They fought to bring him back for nearly 15 minutes, refusing to give up even as his pulse faded. But by 11:28 p.m., the heart monitor flatlined. Jabari Baby Wee Henley was pronounced dead at the scene. Just 14 minutes after help arrived, one of LA's young sons was gone forever.
They killed Nip too. Let's not forget, homie. They killed Nipsey Hussle. Eric Holder was not a lone actor in that. If you go back and follow the details, Nip and Big U got into it. Big U hit Nip Daddy across the head with a bat. His brother had to come out and shoot the gun. Hey, y'all get out. Say, Nip, come on, we finna come beat you because I don't want to pay that $20,000.
The next morning, November 1st, the LA County Coroner's Office opened an official case and began the autopsy. The report confirmed what everyone already feared. Multiple gunshot wounds to the chest and abdomen, cause of death, homicide. The streets were left in silence, heavy with grief and questions no one could answer. The official cause of death was listed as multiple gunshot wounds, but what really ended Jabari's fight for life was the massive internal bleeding, hemorrhagic shock, and a torn left pulmonary artery that no one could have survived. The coroner's report was heartbreaking in its clarity, and when the toxicology came back, it revealed something even deeper. His system was completely clean. No alcohol, no drugs, nothing that could have clouded his judgment or slowed his reactions. This wasn't some reckless night gone wrong. Jabari was sober, alert, and focused, which made the ambush hit even harder. The ruling? Homicide? No question about it. But to really understand why this tragedy sent shockwaves through Los Angeles and beyond, you've got to know who Jabari Baby Wee Henley truly was. Born March 15, 1991 in Inglewood, Jabari was a product of LA County through and through. But unlike his father, Eugene Big U Henley, one of the most recognized names in the city's street and music circles, Jabari never chased fame or attention. He wasn't out here trying to live in his father's shadow. He was quiet, grounded, and focused on building something real for himself and his family. Still, Jabari wasn't disconnected from the culture. He had music in his blood. Under the stage name Baby Wee, he dropped a few solid tracks that earned him respect among underground listeners. One of his standout songs was Hood from 2019, featuring Hoodrich Pablo Juan and produced by Kenny Beats. It pulled in around 150,000 streams on Spotify, and for those who knew the lyrics, it was more than just a record. It was a reflection of his mindset. He rapped about survival, loyalty, and staying solid even when life gets grimy. Listening to that song now hits way different, especially knowing how his story came to an end. But here's what made Jabari stand out from the rest. Music wasn't his whole life. His close friends described him as a hard-working man with responsibilities, not someone chasing the streets. They said he was a warehouse supervisor in Compton, clocking in daily, stacking his checks, and providing for his 10-year-old daughter who was the center of his world. He made it clear he didn't want to get caught up in gang politics or the dangerous legacy tied to his family name. He was trying to write his own story. Everyone who knew him said the same thing: he stayed out the way. That's street code for minding your business, avoiding drama, and staying clear of unnecessary beef. Jabari embodied what so many young men in South LA dream about: holding on to your roots without letting the streets swallow you whole. He was proof that you could still show love to where you came from without letting it define how you lived. Jabari didn't just leave behind memories. He left behind a family full of ambition, drive, and love. He had 3 siblings, all making their mark in completely different lanes, showing just how far the Henleys had come from their South Central roots. His younger brother, Dian Henley, only 28 years old, is a starting linebacker for the LA Chargers. When the news broke about Jabari's death, Dian took to Instagram on November 1st, posting a heartbreaking message that stopped everyone mid-scroll. "My heart is shattered. Rest easy, bro. We got the fam." You could feel the pain through the words. It was raw, it was real, and it showed just how deep this loss cut. Then there's Michael Henley, Jabari's 32-year-old brother, known around Hawthorne as one of the cleanest barbers in the city. He's been running his own chair, building his clientele, staying low-key, and staying focused. And their sister, Cherish Henley, 30, has been holding it down in Long Beach as a registered nurse, dedicated to helping others while keeping her family together behind the scenes. Each one of them was walking a different path, but all of them were chasing something better, something bigger than the streets. But here's where this story turns from tragic to absolutely heartbreaking, where their father, Eugene Big U Henley, was when the news hit. The man who helped raise Jabari, who once had a powerful name across LA, wasn't free to even hug his family during their darkest moment. Big U, now 58 years old, found out about his son's murder while sitting in a federal cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles. He'd been locked up without bail since March 2025 when the feds hit him with a 43-count RICO indictment that shook the entire West Coast. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California didn't hold back. They accused Big U of running a mafia-style criminal empire allegedly tied to the Rollin 60s Crips, the same neighborhood that raised him. The charges: extortion, bank fraud, human trafficking, even allegations of ordering a hit on a Vegas rapper. The indictment read like a Hollywood script, but this wasn't fiction. The feds claimed Big U had used his influence, connections, and old alliances to pull strings across multiple states. They painted him as a power broker who blurred the lines between hip-hop business and street politics. The way Big U found out about his son's death shows just how heartless and cold the prison system can really be. It all went down around 1:30 a.m. on November 1st, deep inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, where the lights were off, the cells were quiet, and the walls felt heavier than ever. His co-defendant, a music executive known as Loose Cannon, who's been caught up in the same RICO mess, was the one who had to break the news, and the way it happened still chills people to this day. Word came in through a contraband cell phone smuggled into the facility. Someone from the outside hit Cannon with the devastating update that Jabari, Baby Wee Henley, had been killed in South Central. And just imagine that moment. A father locked up with no access to his family, no way to make a call, no chance to even see his son one last time. Cannon later told TMZ and Hot New Hip Hop what happened that night. He said when he whispered the news through the dark cell block, Big U froze. He didn't move. He didn't speak. Then, tears started streaming down his face as his fists clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. Cannon said Big U finally whispered, "Not my boy, not like this." It was the sound of a man completely broken, a man used to being in control, suddenly realizing there was nothing he could do to protect his own blood. Cannon said, "We're both shattered, man. Heartbroken and devastated doesn't cover it, but we're gonna work through this, even from in here. God makes no mistakes. It's a test, but we'll rise." You could hear him trying to pull strength from faith while sitting in the middle of the most hopeless situation imaginable. As of November 2nd, 2025, the case is still open. No arrests, no suspects, no closure. The LAPD's South Bureau Homicide Division has been working around the clock. Detectives have pulled 12 different surveillance videos from nearby businesses and intersections, trying to piece together the shooter's getaway. On November 1st, the department even announced a $50,000 reward through its citywide crime reward program, hoping someone would come forward with a lead to break the silence. But as days turned into nights, the trail started to cool. and that silence only grew louder. And just when you'd think the world would let the family grieve in peace, the internet did what it always does. It turned tragedy into chaos. Within hours, social media caught wind of the story, and by 11:45 p.m., barely 2 hours after the first police scanner report hit online, every major platform was on fire. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, every corner of the web lit up with posts, screenshots, theories, and disrespectful comments. People who didn't even know Jabari were suddenly acting like detectives.
When Nipsey died, right? When Nipsey got killed, we probably had about 300, 375, 400 kids that was in our program. And I had the travel basketball team. We had a contract with Adidas that was worth about $3 million that Kanye West gave us.
Wow.
And then I had like a bunch of other different contracts. And for a nonprofit, we were really thriving. Then Nipsey gets killed. Well, after Nipsey get killed, then the rumor goes out, Big U had something to do. Woo. We lost everything.
You lost all those?
Everyone, I tell you everything.
Wow.
Kanye stopped answering the phone. Adidas stopped answering the phone. And I ended up almost
Tossing around wild stories, pointing fingers, and spreading unconfirmed insider info like it was fact. What started as heartbreak turned into a digital circus of grief mixed with conspiracy. The comment section got ugly fast. Instead of compassion, there were memes, coded threats, and people using the tragedy as ammo to reopen old street beefs connected to Big U's past. The same internet that once celebrated him for giving back to the hood now had trolls and enemies mocking his pain. The story about Jabari Henley getting gunned down didn't just stay in the hood or even just in LA, it went global. Within hours, the internet turned a family tragedy into a viral spectacle. And with that came a flood of comments, conspiracy theories, and straight-up disrespect that showed the absolute worst side of internet culture, and how the hip-hop community still hasn't healed from losing Nipsey Hussle. But what blew up online wasn't condolences or calls for justice. Nah. What we saw was way darker. A whole wave of people talking about karma, divine retribution, and even celebrating a young father's death just because of the rumors about his pops. Within 90 minutes of the first police scanner reports hitting the net, the story exploded. It instantly got tied to those old 6-year conspiracy theories about Big U supposedly having something to do with Nipsey Hussle's death back on March 31st, 2019. On X, yeah, that's what we call Twitter now, the mentions of Big U's son jumped from 2,500 posts at midnight to 15,000 by 6 a.m. on November 1st. Hashtags like hashtag Cost Big Henley and hashtag Baby U were trending all across LA. The speed this whole thing blew up was insane. Proof that social media has turned tragedy into instant content, speculation into so-called facts, and people's grief into entertainment for the masses. TikTok was flooded with videos, some of them graphic. One clip showing paramedics performing CPR on Jabari, posted by anonymous accounts, hit 3.2 million views by noon on November 1st. Instagram reels from Nipsey Hussle fan pages started mixing mourning with accusations, blending tributes with slick edits aimed straight at Big U. Before the day was over, those posts had reached over 25 million impressions worldwide. The algorithm was eating it up, serving people a narrative that had been simmering in the culture for years, just waiting for a spark to reignite it. The disrespect came wrapped in talk about karma, divine justice, and Nipsey's spirit getting revenge from the grave. But underneath it all were the same old accusations that have followed Big U since 2019. Theories that Big U vouched for Eric Holder Jr., the Rollin' 60s member convicted in 2022 for Nipsey's murder, or that he somehow profited off Nipsey's death through his label, had already been proven false during Holder's trial. Big U's name never even came up in court transcripts. But you know how it goes. Facts don't travel as fast as rumors. And this time, those rumors got new life through old clips recirculating with fresh energy. A 2021 interview with Charleston White resurfaced on November 1st, racking up 11,000 likes and nearly 500 reposts. In that clip, Charleston made wild allegations, claiming they killed Nipsey. Eric Holder wasn't no lone actor. Big U and Nipsey had beef. Big U hit Nip's dad with a bat, and his brother had to come out shooting. Then a 2025 clip from Loose Cannon's podcast, recorded before he caught his case, went viral again, pulling in over 6,000 likes. In that rant, he claimed Big U had signed Nipsey to a shady deal and then let the snake circle. The irony wasn't lost on anybody paying attention. That same loose cannon would later be the one to break the news to Big U that his son had been murdered. Whack 100's Instagram Live from March 2025 poured gasoline on an old fire. In that stream, he claimed there had been a physical altercation between Big U and Nipsey Hussle back in 2017, one that supposedly led to Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, getting arrested. That clip alone sparked a viral thread with over 50,000 engagements. But here's the thing, none of this was new. These were old stories, old dirt being dug up and given new life. The algorithm thrives on conflict and controversy, and it didn't care that most of it was baseless. When you actually look at how people were moving online in those first few hours after Jabari's death, it paints a grim picture of how grief and speculation turned toxic in real time. At 12:07 a.m. on November 1st, somebody posted a shaky video from the crime scene with the caption, "Retaliation for Big U's alleged Nipsey setup. Street war never ends." That post got just 19 likes and 5 reposts. But by 1:46 a.m., a more reflective voice emerged. Someone wrote, "Comments full of Nipsey's spirit and sins of the father. We've lost compassion. Death is entertainment." It got 95 likes. Then as the sun came up, the tone shifted hard. At 6:47 a.m., another post read, "LA let Big U walk after killing your legend Nip, Trash City." That one blew up. 2,400 likes. By 12:57 p.m., someone dropped a YouTube video titled, "Proof Big U Killed Nipsey and His Son's Best Friend." It pulled 417 views in just the first few hours. When analysts later broke down the data, the results were wild. Out of 8,000 posts made between November 1st and 2nd, 62% mentioned Nipsey, often using hashtags like #NipseyKarma, which appeared over 4,000 times. Only 28% were neutral condolences, and a mere 10% called out the mockery. The platforms eventually had to step in. X, formerly Twitter, suspended 15 accounts for doxing. TikTok demonetized 200 videos for graphic content. Instagram flagged 50 reels under hate speech. "We've lost compassion, death as entertainment." That one comment at 1:46 a.m. said it best, and it only got 95 likes. By 6:47 a.m., the tone shifted completely. Someone posted, "LA let Big U walk after killing your legend Nip, Trash City." That post blew up. 2,400 likes, hundreds of replies. By early afternoon at 12:57 p.m., a YouTube link popped up titled, "Proof Big U Killed Nipsey and Son's Best Friend." It racked up 417 views in just the first few hours. When you actually break the numbers down, the scale of this digital mob becomes crystal clear. Out of 8,000 analyzed posts from November 1st to 2nd, 62% invoked Nipsey Hussle's name, often through hashtags like #NipseyKarma, which showed up over 4,000 times. 28% were neutral condolences. Only 10% condemned the mockery. But in the era of social media, denials rarely travel as far as accusations. The damage wasn't just financial, it was years of peace building, youth programs, and street credibility getting stripped away. By 2023, X's sentiment analysis showed positive mentions linking Nipsey and Big U fell from 80% in 2018 to just 35% in 2023, thanks to over 5,000 rumor-laden posts. The hit to Big U's reputation was done, even though there was zero evidence supporting the accusations. Then March 2025 arrived, and Big U's troubles skyrocketed. He got arrested, slapped with 43 federal RICO counts, accused of running a mafia-like operation tied to the Rollin' 60 Crips, extortion, human trafficking via unique music, bank fraud with $1.2 million in COVID relief loans, and orchestrating a 2021 rapper's murder over a diss track. Big U pleaded not guilty and is representing himself after his attorney withdrew, with trial set for May 2026. Against this backdrop, a father locked up, reputation trashed, freedom stripped, and then hit with the devastating news of his son Jabari Henley's murder. The timing couldn't be crueler. The internet treated his grief as entertainment, celebrating what they thought was karma. The investigation into Jabari's murder is ongoing. As of November 2nd, 2025, LAPD reviewed 12 surveillance videos, awaiting full ballistics and toxicology results expected November 5th. 2 Inglewood individuals with no direct Rollin' 60s ties were briefly picked up and released after alibis checked out. Forensic DNA on the sedan's handle shows a partial match to a Hoover affiliate, suggesting spillover retaliation, not the kind people hyped on social media. Ultimately, this tragedy highlights how the internet has warped grief, justice, and truth in the culture. The Henley family, already grappling with Big U's incarceration and frozen assets, is coordinating funeral arrangements privately, with a memorial tentatively set for November 8th. If you followed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth coverage of celebrity news, street drama, and hip-hop's real-life stories.